Okay, yeah, I guess let's just start. Um, okay, pretty straightforward keep. Turn one Ragavan. No decisions so far. Yep, makes sense. They name Bombardment, so you don't really have any other plays. Makes sense to kill their Memnite. They play robots, sure. No decisions. Yeah, makes sense to discard these two cards because you don't really have removal for the needle anyway. Keep the treasure, fly the Ragavan. Pretty straightforward, I suppose. Okay, so you play the land because you have Surveil lands in your deck, and maybe you're gonna discharge this Kappa. So I guess you kind of have a choice on if you want to discharge the Kappa now and then attack. I guess so you'd have 10 energy. It looks like it's probably 6 toughness. Because then the upside of that is it lets you attack with like more ground creatures. And then you can like reduce their artifact count. I mean, City's Blessing, as I remember, you just keep it once you have it. So yeah, I guess let's see. Okay, yeah, so you are attacking, so it looks like your plan is to discharge the Kappa and put flying on the Ocelot Pride. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, so I guess this is kind of an interesting choice. So you have the decision, do you discharge the Kappa now, or do you not discharge the Kappa? Um, because you have enough energy to kill it and you can pay for ward. I guess I would say I'm not sure exactly what you're waiting for. Maybe you're waiting for them to like equip a Shadow Spear, but I don't feel like you're probably going to get a much better target. And this way you can just get an extra creature across. Because now they get to like eat your Seasoned Pyromancer or eat a token, whereas otherwise they couldn't. So I guess I would say I would just be, yeah. I'm unsure why you're waiting. You could also maybe be waiting because you're like, oh, I have Ragavan. Maybe you're like, if they eat Pyromancer, I can just get it back. But the problem is this is going to get so many counters on it next turn because they have double Ravenous robots. Maybe you're like, I can get more energy if they like block it and I kill less. Okay, so yeah, this happens. Sure. So yeah, you could even, so now I guess you could technically reanimate the Pyromancer and then you can make like a trillion tokens. But yeah, now you go to post combat. So I guess this accomplished that you got more, um, you got to keep more energy and you got the Seasoned Pyromancer in the graveyard. So I don't know, but I guess yeah. I mean, I guess that's just math. I mean, I guess part of the problem with that play is they don't like if the upside is that they get to block your Seasoned Pyromancer, they could just choose to block like chump it with a 1/1 and then block a cat. So like you're kind of giving them the choice, but I guess I don't even know if that's the reasoning. Maybe the value is to like keep the bonus energy up, but you're gonna get the energy end of turn anyway from the Ocelot. I don't know. Maybe it was missing enough energy. Like maybe you wouldn't have had flying next turn. Maybe I'm spending too long digging into this play. I'm just trying to see if my play made sense of discharging first. So if you discharge now, you go down to 1 energy, and end of turn you make 2 tokens, so you'd have 3. Okay, so yeah. Sorry to take so long in that play. Okay, so they just get Shadow Spear. Yeah, you don't have any choice. You're just waiting for them to pass. You're just seeing what they do. Oops. Uh, Playback mode. Yeah, Surveil. They crypt you, so they take away your Pyromancer. There's a mystery card. Okay, you keep the Pyromancer. Yeah, obviously makes sense. They're just dead here, right? They don't have any flyers. Okay, so I guess this game is over. We'll go to the next one. Da, da, da. Okay, obviously we can't see the sideboard because it's replay, but it's fine. Okay, oop, let's look at the first hand there. Okay, that's interesting. That hand does not look that bad, but obviously that's interesting. So make this a bit slower. So you see this hand, and yeah, it's interesting. It's a very fair hand. So you go like, obviously, you know, it's turn 1 Ocelot, turn 2 Voice, turn 3 Seasoned Pyromancer. And the question is that a keeper mulligan against Affinity on the draw? So of course you can ask yourself, what are the specific sideboard cards that you would want that are high impact against them? And obviously it's Wrath of Skies, Wear Tear. And maybe you're like Ajani Bombardment is a better hand, or maybe you're like Guide Ocelot's better. I guess there's kind of like a few things going on, because like one thing you could say is like, oh, the second Voice of Victory is pretty bad, but obviously you have the Seasoned Pyromancer to get rid of it. But maybe you can say, oh, Seasoned Pyromancer is like weak. Like maybe you feel like playing a Seasoned Pyromancer on turn 3 is like a weak play against Affinity, because you're just, I mean, it is kind of a weak play, right? You're just making 1/1 tokens, and maybe they have a Kappa Cannoneer or a Pinnacle or Urza Saga. It's not going to look good. Though, I guess technically the Pyromancer does dig you deeper into those Wrath of the Skies, Wear Tear effects to have access to in turn 4, but obviously at that point you're already going to have a board. I guess you could also say, oh, there's a concern that your Ocelot won't get in. Like, let's say they play fast Emery, like a turn 1 Emery. Like, you can't even attack with your Ocelot, and you're probably just going to lose, right? Because your king has Voice of Victory's Pyromancer. But I'm not sure. Obviously, yeah, it's a 1/2/3 hand, but I guess the problem is Voice of Victory is not a great 2-drop. Seasoned Pyromancer is not a great 3-drop. Ocelot is a good 1-drop, but like maybe they could just block it anyway. You know, maybe, I know sometimes they play Whip Flare, sometimes they play like they might have a weapons and just kill it. So yeah, I guess it's like maybe it sounds like I'm inexperienced of coaching. Maybe I haven't played the matchup enough, so maybe it's a pretty straightforward mull. I don't know how close this is, but yeah, it seems reasonable, even though it looks good, because I can see the fact that these aren't great turn 2 or 3 plays, and yeah, like the fact that they can block your Ocelot. Like at least if you had a Guide of Souls, at least they can't block it or something like that. So seems reasonable to mulligan it. Like the Seasoned Pyromancer draws you cards, but at the point when you untap on turn 4, you're probably going to be dead. And yeah, this hand looks a lot better because you have a sideboard card, or you have a Wear Tear and Ocelot, and yeah, and Serbian Charm might be better 2-drop. So I guess you have a choice of what to bottom. It's probably one of the 3-drops. I guess maybe you go for Ranger Captain because Pyro could refill your hand, or maybe you keep Ranger. Like the 3/3 body on Ranger Captain seems pretty bad. It doesn't seem like a card you would really want in the matchup. You probably just leave it in because you don't have anything better. Maybe you can use it to protect your Wrath of the Skies, I guess best case, because I think it's just opponents. But like, yeah, maybe the idea is like you're going to try and empty your hand and play Pyro. Maybe you keep Ranger because you want to get Guide. I guess technically you could consider bottoming Straben Charm or Wear Tear, but you might want to keep Charm, obviously, so you can go turn 1 Ocelot, turn 2 Charm, and then hold the Wear Tear to try and fuse later, potentially. So yeah, makes sense. Yeah, you bottom Ranger Captain. Sure. So you draw Voice, pretty straightforward here. Yeah, it seems reasonable to get that, because I guess if you draw Plains, you can't cast your Seasoned Pyromancer, so you just do that. The Gallowblast it, sure. Okay, you draw Guide of Souls, so I guess you're just going to slam Voice of Victory. Yeah. Seems reasonable to, yeah, shock because of the Pyro thing. And yeah, Voice of Victory is looking pretty nice here. Their draw is looks non-functional, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I guess you have a micro choice to play the second Voice or play the Guide of Souls. I don't mind playing the Voice. It's better because like maybe they have like another Galv Blast or a Whip Flare effect, so this way you can get all 4 energy, instant trigger, more mana efficient. So yeah, I mean, I like this play, so probably don't need to add too much. Okay, so now they have Kappa. Makes sense that was, oh no, there's thought casting. Okay, yeah. So yeah, here you can probably just go like Guide of Souls, Straben Charm this thing. I guess we'll see. It's pretty straightforward, I suppose. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I guess you got, maybe you got paid off for the mulligan. I mean, their hand ended up being good, but it seemed this hand, the mulligan hand definitely seems stronger. Obviously, there's a lot of questions with mulliganing, just like the generic stuff of like, you know, would I be happy with this hand on 6? There's like an interesting question of like, you don't have that many sideboard cards. I mean, you have like 5 or 6. I guess Raven Charm can help against Saga, so that's like an interactive spell. Like, I guess the problem with that hand is it didn't have any interaction and like it had weaker threats. So maybe like I can try and mulligan to better threats, or I can at least maybe try and have some strong interaction and threats or something like that. So anyway, yeah, we can go to the next game against Scorios. I guess we could even see here roughly how you sideboarded. Um, okay, I mean, I guess one note is I think you brought out the Ragavan, and I guess it makes sense because of Ravenous Robots. But I could see Ragavan being okay against Affinity because obviously the Pinnacle tokens don't block it. So they actually might not be the best at blocking Ragavan because obviously Kappa Cannoneer can block it, but Kappa Cannoneer is just a big problem in general. Um, and what else was I going to say? But it's like, yeah, Emery, obviously it would just trade. You'd be happy with that. Pinnacle, like if they hardcast Pinnacle, obviously you can remove it. I guess the Urza Saga tokens, but like ideally you're like disenchanting their Saga. So I guess I could say I could consider Ragavan. I mean, I don't know what the consensus is in the, community, the whatever you call it, energy community, but I could see the Ragavans being better than like Ranger Captain of EOS. Um yeah. Just because I don't know if they actually have that many ways to punish it. I mean, maybe because you saw two Ravenous robots and you're like, they have and they showed you Memnite. So maybe you're just like, because this particular opponent showed me Memnites and Ravenous robots, you're like, maybe you're lower on Ragavan. Though they probably might side out robots because you have bombardments. So I guess I don't know if you like always side out Ragavan. I guess I would say I would consider leaving Ragavans in because I don't know if they actually have that many ways to punish it. Like I feel like if you play from the affinity side, Ragavan could be a scary card because there's just so many times it's going to hit you, and obviously that's scary. And also because I think some of the 3 drops don't seem that strong in the matchup. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, we can look at Goryo's. Okay. Yeah, reasonable hand, I suppose. Nothing to add. Okay, turn 1. I guess they have a lot of value they can surveil away, but yeah, I guess you're just going to Ragavan. Yeah, I guess you don't play basic mountain, so the fact that it's an Arid Mesa doesn't matter compared to a Marsh Flats. I guess it's almost better in case they randomly had a needle. Obviously, that's not very common. Okay, so they have Frog. And okay, so I guess so I guess you let's see. Okay, playing the land's interesting because that implies that you might not try to discharge this turn. I guess discharge gets really punished if they have like a what do you call that card? Force of negation. Because I was trying to think like let's say you attack and then they go to discard a card. It's 6 toughness. Okay, so never mind. Yeah, I haven't played that much Frog against energy stuff, so yeah, technically their Frog has 6 toughness. They would have to discard their whole hand, but you have nothing left, so you would just lose to that. So okay, so you just play voice and pass, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. And then next turn you can try and bombardment with this charge. Sure. Pretty straightforward. Looks like the Gories attracts us. I guess this game's basically over. I'll just fast forward a bit. Um, yeah, you can concede. So obviously can't say sideboard. Okay, this is an interesting hand because it's like pretty bad. But yeah, it has turn with Ragavan. They're not that good at Ragavan. You have Seeds and Power just to fuel up. So it makes sense to keep. I mean, I guess Discharge is kind of a card that is interesting against them because it's not really that reliable at killing Frog or Riddler by themselves, but maybe you just need it because the idea is that you get energy with like Guide of Souls, or maybe you like combine the damage with Bombardment or stuff like that. But obviously, like Discharge looks pretty bad in the opening hand against Goryo's because it would be the card that's theoretically good once you have like a good position and you just need to somehow like stop their Ephemerate on whatever. Like technically, you can kill Atraxa too, right? If you get a lot of energy. I guess what I'm trying to say is like 4 lands Discharge isn't great, but I guess the Ragavan's pretty good. Like they usually only play like around 3 prismatic endings. Obviously they could solitude it, but then that's not bad for you. So yeah, it seems reasonable to keep. Obviously not an exceptional hand, but the Ragavan into Pyro, yeah, that's fine. Um, it's like obviously like yeah, it's like what I would call like a 6 out of 10 hand maybe or something like that. Okay, so you get your Ragavan gets in. That's pretty good. And you hit a Riddler. Okay, that's interesting. Actually, I don't know what happens if you warp the Riddler. I don't know the ruling for that, so I guess I can't comment on that. Um, yeah. So if you could warp the Riddler, I could see considering doing it, but I don't know. Obviously, it would be its own thing. So I guess I won't comment on that too much because I don't even know the ruling, and probably discard 2 lands because you already have the 3rd land. Yeah, seems reasonable. So you see a God of Souls, but yeah, since you draw like you keep a 4-land hand and you draw 2 more lands, and now you have 6 lands. So obviously, draw's not panning out that well. You find a Surgical though. That's kind of nice. Okay, you attack. They go for a Solitude. I guess you can also discharge the Solitude if they go for Ephemerate it. Maybe that's part of the idea. So yeah, that's what happens here. You gotta do it, but you have like almost no clock at this point, except for the Surgical. I guess you're gonna Surveil. So we'll see. So they warp a Riddler, but yeah, they're gonna like ephemerate it maybe or consign it? No, okay, that's better for you then. They draw 2 cards. I guess it does not matter for the thing. It just matters for how sweet the play is. Okay, so yeah, so they have 2 cards. They warp Riddler. They don't have anything. Wait, what's happening here? Oh, you draw a second surgical. Okay. So you go to use it. Interesting. I mean, let's untap. Okay, I think you might have already discarded the parlor. I mean, I kind of think like so. There's like a few things going on. Like number one, the first thing is obviously they have Faithful Mending in the graveyard, so that's technically a target you could surgical, and you get guaranteed value. Like obviously you could be like maybe I don't care about the Faithful Mending, but obviously this isn't a pretty how would you say low resource game or sticky game or like your hand's not very good, so you kind of have to hope their hand's not that good either. So like for example, we know they have a Riddler exiled, so like I could see value in just going after the Mending. Obviously, just so you get the guaranteed value and then hold the surgical for later. Because obviously we know they don't have Solitude. So the value of this is it prevents them from drawing Solitude. But if they draw Solitude, they have to pitch a card. Maybe you're not as concerned about that because they have a Riddler in exile. But obviously your board's not even very good right now. So I guess I could say I might go for Mending just because we know they have a turn 5 play of like on turn 5 they can play a Riddler, and Mending I could see helping them bridge the gap there. Like the fact that it gains life and the fact that like I know you have surgical for like the Gorios and stuff, but like if they have Gorios and Atraxas in hand, the Mending like lets them convert, like let's say they have Atraxa in hand for example, the Mending lets them convert that into the graveyard, whereas otherwise it might be stuck in hand, at least until turn 7 or whatever, or when they have 7 lands. So yeah, I don't know if I love this play, but it doesn't seem like completely crazy, because obviously hitting the Mending's not that good. Like, yeah, you can see their hand, they have a Pest Control and a Traxa and a Delta, so like, it's just that it might potentially mess up their turn. I guess, yeah, so, I don't know, I guess it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just, I might consider going for the Mending, because to mess up the next turn. But obviously, you're probably thinking, oh well, the game's gonna go on for a while, and Solitude's gonna be annoying later on. If they have no Solitude, maybe you're like they have almost no removal because what are their removal like Wrath of Skies, Prismatic Ending, um, things of things of that nature. Maybe you're even like, oh, if I leave the Mending, maybe I'll bait them to go for it. But yeah, obviously it makes sense. You kind of die here. I mean, your draw wasn't that good. Like you kept kind of like a 6 out of 10 hand. Then you drew 2 more lands and like two like yeah. So your draw just wasn't very good here. So not surprising. I guess you just attack sort of as a bluff which makes sense. So that's a pretty sneaky attack because they're like yeah if he has this charge. So good limited kind of bluff attacking I suppose. So yeah they pest control your god, they hit you, and I'll just fast forward a bit. Um, I mean, Bombardment is a pretty good draw, I guess. Yeah, you can see the life gain is kind of annoying here because this is actually very interesting. Well, so you know they have Atraxa, so you're like if they have Surgical, but okay, you're missing one of lethal because you can ping them to 3 and then bombardment them, whatever. But yeah, you can see the life gain off the Mending is pretty annoying here, obviously, um, because you're very close to killing them and whatever. Okay, Ranger Captain. Okay, maybe you could win. Oh, Dash Ragavan. Oh, they left back a frog. Okay. Interesting. Because maybe they plan to the Riddler, so they block the frog, so you can just let the damage happen. Now that they sack a thing, you ping them. Sure, they go to 3. They can't use the fetch land. Okay. It looks like you're actually winning this. Interesting. Interesting. So you do that, because I guess it plays around them going Wrath of Skies for 3. Is there any downside? I guess it's just a straightforward play of asking if there's any downside to doing this on their upkeep. So I guess ways that you can lose the game now is again if they have Faithful Mending because it's life gain, they can Mending on your turn. Um, if they Wrath of Skies for 2, it might not be that bad for you because they kill their own frog. And if they do it for 3, they would need to have an untapped land. And I forget exactly what their hand is, but I know it's an Atraxa, I think, and maybe something else. I didn't see what they discarded. So maybe it wasn't worth doing this because the problem of doing this is maybe they just draw a Faithful Mending, or like, but I guess the upside is like if they drew Prismatic Ending, maybe like they could Prismatic Ending my Bombardment. I mean, then you get to fling the Pyromancer at them. I guess I was just trying to think like, so the downside of doing this is maybe they draw a Mending. The upside is maybe it stops them from like doing some like ephemerating Riddlery, I don't know, stuff. So yeah, so you do that, but also like for example, it lets them get an attack and withdraw. I mean, I guess they could exile 3, but yeah, I guess they just let you untap. And yeah, encampment's really good here. I guess if you activate it, then they could like kill that. So you're like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. So they go for Goryo's. I guess surgical to see their hand first seems reasonable. Oh, but they just exile it. Makes sense. They block it, shoot it. Sure, sure, sure. You can maybe go for upkeep in case mending, but I guess it doesn't like matter. Maybe really, probably. Um, yeah. Or maybe you just have like their F6 or something. I don't know. Okay, so game 3. Let's see. Let's see if there's some game 3. Okay, yeah, pretty straightforward keep. Okay, leading on Ragavan seems reasonable. Honestly, in some ways, it is kind of an interesting choice because you have the ability to dash Ragavan later, but maybe you're just like Ragavan's more power. Like if it connects, it's more powerful than if Ocelot connects. Like maybe, yeah. So seems reasonable. They pass to you. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting choice where like Ocelot might be harder to trigger later, and whereas Ragavan can be dashed later. But I can see the argument to playing Ragavan of like Ocelot's a card they could ignore for a longer amount of time, where Ragavan they kind of need to remove it right away, otherwise it's just going to provide too much value. So maybe if you play Ocelot, it creates a board state where like they can more easily go like you play like a Johnny and then they go like Ephemerate Solitude it. Whereas if you play Ragavan, you're better against Ephemerate Solitude, so Solitude Ephemerate, so it makes sense. Okay, they're playing. I didn't realize this. I assumed they were just playing a normal version. I guess I might have missed the surgical, but there's an Ulamog for some reason. So they're playing like the more aggressive version, I guess. Um, so you play a Johnny and pass with Discharge up. So yeah, I guess this is kind of an interesting turn. You could Season Pyromancer, but maybe you're like you don't really want to discard cards. Um, Maybe part of the reason to play a Johnny is it gives you. Actually, no, that would be the reason to play Pyro. I was gonna say Pyromancer gives you outs to draw Surgical in case they have like Faithful Men and Gorios. So I guess maybe you're like, well, maybe like the downside of playing Pyromancer is like if I play Pyromancer, they could Solitude Ephemerate me and I won't have Discharge up. So I guess part of the question is like how bad is that of an outcome? So I mean, basically your big choice here is do you play a Johnny or do you play Pyromancer? And yeah, I don't think either play is like obviously bad. So the upside of playing a Johnny is you get to leave up Discharge, and maybe you can have more control over the timing of the Season Pyromancer, if that makes sense. And the upside to playing Pyromancer is it gives you I don't so you have two and it gives you like what like a 3-4% chance to hit a surgical in case they have a thing. And maybe yeah, it just seems weaker to thing. I guess also maybe you don't want to discard a card because like maybe if you play Pyromancer, maybe you discard like Discharge and a land, and then maybe that creates a situation where you miss your land drop, or maybe like you want double Discharge in case they ephemerate a Riddler. So yeah, this seems reasonable to me. Definitely seems like a close choice. I would think about a bit. Somebody who hasn't played energy that much, but yeah, the fact that you can double Discharge Riddler, even though it's kind of like a sad play, still makes sense as a play you would want to make. And also, yeah, I guess there you could also like Ephemerate Solitude, and I guess that would be kind of annoying because you're gonna have to discharge it after they got the value. So sure, this seems fine to me. Yeah, and it looks like they actually go for that because it makes sense. I mean, they didn't play 1 or 2 drops. It's like they probably either have a Faithful Mending or like Ephemerate Solitude, most likely. So yeah, they go for it, and you get rewarded. And they hit a Johnny first, so I feel like I feel like you'd be more scared of them hitting Ragavan, but I guess that's not your decision. And I guess maybe there's things I'm not aware of. Okay, so they go for Emperor of Bones. They hit the Solitude. And yeah, the discharges look super good here. And it looks, the play of, not playing Pyromancer works out extremely well because both the discharges work out well. So you start by discharging. That makes sense because I guess you just want to start the turn by attacking with Ragavan. Sure. Technically, you could like play to land in case they for some reason had a Spell Pierce, but I guess they would like basically never have Spell Pierce against you. But I don't know if there's like a downside to it, but that's not really like that's pretty marginal advice. Okay, so you could, I don't know, again, I don't know the rule interaction was Riddler. I think you can only warp from your hand, actually, from what I recall. I actually got a GRV of that at PT Edge of Eternities. I tried to warp a card from exile. So, okay, that should be the ruling. I got it. I remember getting a GRV for that. So I guess the decision here is do you slam Pyromancer or do you play Johnny Ocelot? I guess Or you can also like maybe sandbag a threat in case they have Wrath of Skies, but they only have one card. So I mean, I guess I'll see what you do and comment on it, but it seems reasonable to play these because then you can just Season Pyromancer as an empty hand next turn anyway. So yeah, this seems fine. Seems fine to get the pressure going. Like if they pest control, I guess it's pretty annoying if they pest control. So yeah, I don't know if there's like any consideration at all to holding, but I guess because they have Quantum Riddler in the deck, it makes sense that you're like, oh, they could Quantum Riddler Ephemerate or something this turn, so it's just deploy the pressure, and you know, Wrath of Sky is going to be good anyway. And also, I guess you're going to Season Pyromancer, so like just emptying your hand, so you have less cards to discard. Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Season Pyromancer, sure, you get City's Blessing, sure, and yeah, pretty straightforward here. Oh, they have Elishnorn, that's funny. Okay. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so they go Gorya's Atraxis again. I guess that's another reason that it would have been bad to hold, because again, it's just less pressure for their A plan. So yeah, I guess we'll see if the Atraxis is able to stabilize the board or not. They go to 9. Let's see if they don't have an okay, they don't have Ephemerate, and okay, but they have a Solitude. They can hit your Ragavan maybe. I guess we'll see. Oh, they hit their own Atraxis to gain life, sure. You pitch that, sure. You draw Captain, makes sense. So yeah, maybe you Captain, get Guide of Souls. I guess it doesn't really change anything, sure. Because you can't get the stuff anyway. Do this, sure. Hit Frog. So yeah, he's just going to play out your hand, I guess, and upkeep the Ranger Captain. Makes sense. So yeah, I guess this is the end of the game. They're going to die, so not much to add. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could scan the game quickly if I thought there was any, like, you know, thing. I don't think there was anything too that stood out as too, you know, weird. I think this was like, I thought that the surgical choice was kind of close. I might have went for the mending for like the reasons I was saying. Like they don't have a good turn lined up, and maybe that's higher value. But obviously, maybe removing all their solitudes is, you know, the higher value play there. It's kind of close. So maybe I'll just go to the next game. And yeah, this, like, you just died to turn 3 Traxa. And yeah, here the playing Ajani made like worked out really well because I mean, I wouldn't have expected them to have Emperor of Bones necessarily. I don't know if they usually side that in, but obviously, yeah, hitting the Ephemerate made sense. And again, because it's a treasure, it's not like you're really being mana inefficient and yada yada. So yeah, I guess just go to the next game. Okay. But yeah, again, makes sense as a keep. 1, 2, 3, sure. Stitcher Supplier, okay. Play your Ajani. Yep, makes sense. Like it's like obviously you could maybe you can hold it so that you hide it, but you have Season Pyromancer, so it makes sense that you're like maybe you don't want to play the planes or whatever. Like maybe very technically you could like fetch a Sacred Foundry to like thin your deck out, because I know that sounds like a meme. I guess it's funny, like if you went back 15 years ago, people took fetching to thin actually so seriously until people were like, that's not a real thing. But it is 52 cards, so it is like 2% less likely to draw a Foundry. And you are probably just gonna play this thing. But again, that's like super nitpicky. And maybe there are like maybe it's fine to not do that because like there are like technical arguments of like, oh, you could draw Sacred Foundry or you could draw Arena of Glory, and then like maybe you're not gonna shock yourself, so you save life. So again, yeah, seems fine to do this. And like you're probably gonna play the encampment next turn anyway, so you're not really hiding it. And again, it's very marginal. So yeah, no real problems there. So yeah, you attack as a cat, pretty straightforward. And then I guess you just Season Pyromancer, discard 2 lands. Pretty straightforward. They go for Birthing Ritual. Okay, I haven't seen this deck before. I thought it... Okay, so... So now I guess your choices are you can activate Encampment, you can discharge to flip your Ajani, and such nuances. I guess it would vary. Like, I don't know if you look at the deck list to see if they have any, like, fatal pushes or stuff like that. the thing is, I don't like. Also, I don't know if like discharge is going to get much better. I mean, it is pretty tempting. I mean, I guess we can see what you do, but I guess I'm not. I don't think it's a completely terrible idea to try and discharge your own Ajani because I don't know if discharge is going to get much better targets in their deck, and your hand's pretty weak, and at least this way you can start getting energy with the God of Souls with the Ajani, start pinging down their boards so that like your Ragavan can attack in. But obviously, if they have a fatal push, it's going to end up pretty badly. But you're in a pretty precarious position because you don't have like amazing attacks and they have birthing ritual going, and fatal push might be good against you anyway. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of close. Maybe. Okay, so you actually go to give flying to the Ragavan. Okay, that's kind of an interesting choice. Yeah, I didn't consider that. I mean, part of the problem is that obviously is that the eye twitch just blocks it. Um, but I guess it's like a little bit more resilient to like a single fatal push because then your cat keeps getting in. So I guess that's kind of an interesting close decision there. And you actually attack with the Ajani. So yeah, that's pretty. Oh, you give flying to the Ajani. Okay, this is kind of okay. I think. Yeah, I mean, this seems questionable. Like, I would imagine when you're watching this back with me, unless I'm missing something, you're probably like, yeah, this is bizarre. Because obviously, if they block your cat, now they can flip your Ajani, and then you lose the counters anyway. Like, they could just go block cat, block the thing. And maybe you're like, well, if they flip the Ajani, then I'm happy with that. But it's like, why did you need to? I mean, I'm gonna try and see that I'm not missing something that this would be like a good play. So it's like, what would go wrong? So like the obvious blocks is block block. They take 5 damage. You flip the Ajani. But the problem is if they have fatal push, they just fatal push the Ajani. Your cats die, and that was bad. Um, so yeah, obviously it's like kind of awkward to put flying counters on Ajani because number one, this creature doesn't really care that much about that, and yeah. So I was trying to see if that was like a good line for some reason, but I think it's probably just not a good line, and you're probably just like agreeing with me, I would imagine. So not no point going too much into it. I mean, I do think it's interesting. Like, yeah, I don't. So like, you could technically get flying to the Ragavan, but obviously, yeah, they block with the Eye Witch, and then what do you call it? So like, I think they have a lesson that gives -2/-2. I guess I need to like search that up really quick. Like, is it called Necrotic? Like, if I think there might be a board wipe lesson, so I guess that obviously like what lessons they fetch can influence the play you're gonna make here. Um, so yeah, I guess I need to search that up really quick. I guess I'll pause this. Okay, yeah. So there's the 3 mana. There's a black -2/-2 to all creatures card. Um, okay, that they could fetch. So yeah, if we look at the options, but I don't think there's anything that could fetch that could kill the Ajani. So you could go like give Ragavan flying, attack, and then they can block, and they can go -2/-2 and fatal push. You could go like discharge on your cat warrior. Well, you can like attack, then post combat discharge your cat warrior, flip your Ajani. I mean, I think flipping the Ajani might be the best line because it gets around the water bending somewhat. Because you keep the flipped Ajani, you have the Season Pyromancer, so that next turn you can untap Season Pyromancer, then zero the Ajani. So yeah, I think flipping the Ajani is probably the best line because the problem is if you give Ragavan flying, they block it, and then they get ruinous water bending, and then they can like chump block here or something. They take 3, but then they just give -2/-2 to everything, and you have a flying Ragavan, but then you have no board. Um, and like maybe that's bad. Like the Ajani seems better than the Flip Ragavan, and either way you're bad against Fatal Push because they have -2/-2 into Fatal Push. So yeah. So then this happens. Oh, they persist. Oh, okay. I don't know if I was missing that, like, if they flip the Ajani, but I feel like, again, we're in a precarious position. Like, I don't know if it's easy to beat them just getting, like, -2/-2 and persist. So what happened is they actually blocked the cat and chose to not flip the Ajani, which I guess is also, like, kind of or, like, no, when does the... Or, no, you're sacking the cat here to the persist. Okay, that makes sense. So you're doing this, sure. Flip the Ajani. Eye Witch. They birthing ritual. They get another Archon. Okay, I mean, it makes sense that at this point you're probably pretty cooked because they're just going to attack with the Archon and you die. I mean, I guess you get a lot of energy. I mean, I guess we can see what happens here. And you activated the Ajani. Sure, you zeroed it. You make a bunch of cats. You ranger them. Okay, so they can attack your Ajani, maybe make you sack it, but you have Guide Pride. Maybe you can like try and hope that does something. They Eyewitch. No, they Eyewitch into Eyewitch. Sure. Okay, well you can discharge their thing. Sure. So you attack with everything. I guess give flying to the. Give it to the guide. Okay. I guess you're like if the Ocelot lives, it's like so good for me anyway. I mean, maybe it's better to give it to a cat token, but I don't know. I mean, I guess are you? I mean, oh, yeah, you don't have enough mana to activate encampment. Sure, sure, that makes sense. And yeah, now you can discharge their Archon attack. Okay, you're actually winning this game. Okay, but they go for the waterbending now. Sure. Yeah, maybe it was better to save the Ocelot Pride because having a single Ocelot, or maybe I don't know. I guess this is fine because you can just zero again. Okay. Yeah, they have a Deep Brew. Of course, makes sense that I've never seen this. So yeah, I mean, I guess you had a mini choice there. Do you save Ocelot or do you save Guide of Souls from the waterbending? I guess the reasoning is like maybe this is just a better clock. Seems reasonable. You're far from City's Blessing. Oh no, you keep the City's Blessing. Okay, now you just die because they Archon again. I mean, I guess yeah, that was kind of a close year of like what's better, the Ocelot or the Guide. But it's not like Guide was bad because you can activate encampment, get a bunch of counters on it, or you can Ocelot, activate encampment, make a bunch of tokens. But yeah, here you imagine it's just dead. So I'll just skip ahead. Game 2. I mean, it made sense that you're in a tough spot. I was surprised that you even almost came back. I guess we can go back to the summary after this game. So yeah, pretty straightforward keep. Makes sense. Yeah, lead on Guide, sure. Dun, dun, dun. If they had Thoughtseize, but I guess they probably don't have Thoughtseize or play against. Like, it just makes sense to lead on Guys so you get more energy in case they have a removal for Ocelot. They're more likely to have Fatal Push or something. If they have Force of the Spear, obviously it's awkward, but seems reasonable. Also, I don't know if they would play it based on what they said. Okay, they're stuck on one land. Kind of interesting to leave up. Like, you probably didn't need a shock there, obviously, but I guess there's not too much to say there. Like, you probably could have just played Bombardment, Fetch Land, Pass, because then you can, Surveil or whatever, but not too much to say that, like, not a very interesting decision. Okay, they persist, and then, yeah, you can just discharge their guy. Sure. And then this looks like lethal, I guess. I don't know if there was, like, a way that you could, like, have, like, flung a cat, and I don't know, I was trying to think if you would have more, like, if you would deal more damage if you fling a cat and then have one more energy and then pay 2, but maybe you need this for City's Blessing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it makes sense to not fling a cat, so you keep City's Blessing, and this is like one short of lethal, I guess, but yeah, even if they get Archon back, it's not enough, so I guess we can just fast forward. Wait, did they get Archon back? Oh, Phyrexian Tower, sure. 1 second, what the hell happened to you? Okay, yes, they Eyewitch it. They get Archon back. Sure, you sack a cat. And you go to combat, you swing with everything. And then if they block Ocelot, you can fling it. And otherwise they take 6. So yeah, if they had like Fatal Push, I guess it would be kind of scary, but you don't really have any options. I mean, you could technically Parlor first, but I guess 3, 6. Yeah. This way, yeah, so okay, it's pretty straightforward. Even if they push the thing, it's just Giga Lethal, I guess. Yeah, so no options there, and then it's game 3. Yeah, I guess this is like a reasonable keep. I mean, you saw them Archon you every single game. I mean, you can pull up the odds. I don't know the exact amount of lands you play. I think, let's say you have, I mean, I guess just pull up the odds really quick just to see what it is that you would hit a land because you have 2 draw steps. So 53 cards. I think it makes sense as a keep, but I guess I'll just say what the odds are, just to see what they actually are. So two. Okay, so like if you play 20, if you have 23 lands total, then you're like a bit more than 66% to hit a land. But obviously, like you could win this game even if you miss on your second land because, well, obviously, like from what it looked like, they had like a black, like they seem like Bombardment of Johnny seems pretty good against them. And yeah, it's just Bombardment, Triple of Johnny. If you miss on a land, maybe you draw one drop. So maybe you draw an Ocelot, maybe you draw another Guide of Souls, maybe you draw a Ragavan. Um, and like even if you miss a land drop, if you hit it on the third turn, you're like 80% to hit it. So yeah, like makes sense to keep this as a one lander. Pretty good disciplined keep here. And yeah, I agree with it. Just because like it's not that it's just like you have surgical and guide, but it's like obviously the fact that you have Bombardment of Johnny, so like it's just a very strong hand. And especially because like the way their deck is built, they seem pretty good against your creature stuff because they have like all these like they're good at blocking your Ragavans or whatever. I mean, maybe you sided out the Ragavans because of that. And like they have like all these like removal spells. What do you call it? Like board wipes for like the Ocelot stuff. Okay, so yeah, you draw land. Yeah, you can. So it makes sense. You're just like I'd rather surveil than like hide the fact that I drew a land. Seems reasonable. They Thoughtseize. They take one more. So they take surgical. So yeah, they actually did have Thoughtseize. So like yeah, there's like a small interesting choice last game in the Ocelot guides thing where it's like if I hold my Ocelot, maybe they can Thoughtseize it, but if I play it out, they can Fatal Push it, and they're probably more likely to have Fatal Pushes. But it seems like now they have a lot of discard spells for some reason. So yeah, you play the Bombardment, I guess, because you're like I want to play around them having another Thoughtseize. Seems seems reasonable. I mean, I guess there is like a couple of interesting considerations. Like one is like okay, like what's the up? So like the fact that they Thoughtseized your surgical could almost imply that maybe they don't have another Thoughtseize because if they had another Thoughtseize, maybe they would just take the Bombardment and then like Thoughtseize the surgical later. But obviously that's not completely true because maybe they have the Thoughtseize, another Thoughtseized, but they're just like they want to play around you top decking a certain like it's not 100% they don't have a Thoughtseize because number one, they could just draw it for turn. Like maybe they just draw it for turn, which again is like maybe like a 8% chance to happen, or I don't know what it is. That's actually pretty high. And also maybe they just like have Archon and they're like, I just don't care about Bombardment. I just want to like, you know, go for the combo and like now or whatever. Okay, so la la la. So yeah, makes sense to play the Bombardment. I could see like arguments of playing a Johnny because then maybe you get like an attack in, but obviously that's pretty marginal. Whatever. Okay, so you draw Thraben Charm, so you go for a Johnny. Seems reasonable. Let's see. You ignore their guys. Makes sense because you want to reduce the chance that they hit an Archon or a good spell or something like that. They hit your Johnny. You just say okay. They Culling Ritual. Okay, that's tough. But not too much to say about that. They True Ancestry, they Thoughtseize. There's Thraben Charm, you playing a Johnny, sure. They have one card left though. Okay, they crack a clue, they play a Birthing Ritual. They persist that they get Archon. And this is a tough spot, obviously. You flip your Johnny. Okay, you play the second of Johnny. Makes sense, you can sack the cat to what they block. I mean, you can't Thraben Charm it. It's not like playing Ocelots. Like playing the second of Johnny's probably better because then you can try and get enough. Maybe you can hope to somehow go wide. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure what your outs are here. It's pretty rough. Yeah, I mean, it's just over. So I guess we can quickly look if there's anything that could be done. But it, like, obviously their draw was good against you because they just, like, Thoughtseized you and played Archons and played Culling Ritual. Like, you know, it's hard to have counterplay to that. But yeah, we can look quickly at the games. Yeah, game one. Obviously I talked about it. I'm trying to think if there's like a more efficient way to say it. And obviously because you're not here, I guess, yeah, I don't know if you're like just nodding ahead, but yeah, I think it makes like the putting the counters on the Ajani seemed weird. I think it was probably better to just because you can actually do it. You can kind of do it all actually because what you could do is you could go play God of Souls, discharge. You hold 2 energy. Ajani flips. You zero the Ajani. You get 3 energy. You can kill their Iwitch if you want. You give Ragavan flying. Now you have a flying Ragavan. Now you have an Ajani on the backside. Again, you can be, this play is weak to Fatal Push, but you don't really have any good plays against Fatal Push, because the Iwitch just dies if you make any attacks. They get -2/-2, and they Fatal Push whatever you have that would survive the board wipe. So yeah, I guess I can make sense. Go Guide of Souls, kill the cat, so don't even attack. Zero the Ajani, flying the Ragavan, and then you can just attack with Pyro Thingy, and now you're like very good against the waterbending card because you have a flying Ragavan and you have a Johnny in play. So that makes sense. I don't know if that's too strategic. That's just like being like, yeah, I don't think I can beat Fatal Push anyway. And so maybe we could have won that game if we did that. Game 2, that's the one we won. And yeah. And game 3, like, yeah, I think the keep actually worked out pretty well for you. And it does, like, you just lost by a lot. Like, they just had Culling Ritual, Archon, Thoughtseize, your Graveyard Hate. So I don't know if there's too much to add there. The Goryo's match, yeah, the main thing that I noticed was, like, I would have considered Surgicling the Mending, which I mentioned a bunch of times. I guess, again, the considerations was, like, it's kind of a tricky consideration because it's like, oh, will removing all their Solitudes be a good play? Because then if the game goes long, they won't have removal. But, like, will I just die quicker to them just having other cards? And again, the fact that it did seem pretty high value because you saw the life gain end up mattering a lot was the bombardments. Obviously, like, they could cast a Solitude, but, like, by the time they cast Solitude, like, you have bombardment. I mean, I guess you didn't have bombardment when you played Surgical, but yeah, like, I probably would have tried to ignore the Solitude, just because I would have valued, like, the guaranteed value of getting rid of the Mending, because, like, your hand is so bad, like, this at least could strand them was a bad hand, and, like, the life gain's kind of a big deal, but obviously, I don't know, like, I don't think it was a horrible play to hit the Solitude. And yeah, I thought, like, it made sense that you lost the game because I thought your hand was like a 6 out of 10-ish, like I would rate it. I think it was like reasonable to keep it. Like, I think it's just on the borderline of a keep. The hand that was Ragavan, Season Pyromancer, discharge 4 lands, and you just drew 2 lands and like 2 surgical, like, and like a redundant surgical. So you do 3 cards you couldn't use. Like, made sense why things didn't work out that well. But you actually won that game, as I recall. Yeah, that, so it even actually worked out. And yeah, I think it was like a reasonable hand. Like, it's right on the borderline of what's keepable. And you won this game. Seemed reasonable to play out all the cards. And yeah, seemed reasonable here. And yeah, the affinity match, I feel like the decisions were kind of straightforward here. Like, the game 1, like, maybe I would have considered discharging the Kappa, but that's like very a minor decision, I guess, because you just did it anyway post combat. So again, maybe the reason you did it was to like have more energy so that you could like give something else flying next turn. So maybe that actually makes sense, I guess, because they go to 3. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter, but yeah. I mean, I guess it could matter because maybe they're gonna like Shadow Spear. They're gonna go like Urza Saga. They're gonna like, maybe if the way they win is if they had like, they can Shadow Spear plus give haste to their construct, and the question's like, what's better in that spot? Yada yada. But yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much to add other than like maybe I would consider Ragavan against them. Again, I already talked about it. I guess I'm just recapping here. Like, I don't know if you like usually side out Ragavan against Affinity or you just did it here because they showed Memnite and Ravenous Robots. But also, yeah, keeping in mind that like maybe they would side out Ravenous Robots, but I'm not sure if they would, but maybe they would. Yeah, I guess that's most of what I have to say. So nothing too crazy. Maybe consider Ragavan a little bit more. Maybe not, just because like I think Ranger Captain and those kind of cards can be kind of bad in the matchup, but obviously it's not horrible because it helps you assemble the Guided Pride or resolve a Wrath of Skies past the counterspell. Yeah, so I guess that's it, I guess. Yeah.